Welcome back to Adventures with Bam. I'm Brent Billings.
And I'm Maggie Billings.
And this episode has us recounting a handful of food-based traumatic experiences.
Traumatic. I mean, I don't know what your stories are going to be, but I feel like mine are not traumatic. Memorable. Teachable moments, perhaps.
This came up earlier because Maggie was doling out a handful of chocolate-covered blueberry things that I thought were for Torin. And so I snatched one and said,
because
Dad
that
tax.
makes it okay.
Yeah, I snatched one and said, Dad tax.
It's okay to steal treats from children.
And then I realized that it was Maggie's plate. And I was like, oh, well, I guess wife tax.
Husband tax.
Or husband tax, whatever. Yeah. So, and you're like, well, this reminds me of. Go on.
The moment in my childhood when I learned not to trust other people with my food. It was probably Darius's age, 5 or 6, I think. And my Uncle Rich was visiting. I don't know if we've talked about them. Uncle Rich and Aunt Marla. They're not my actual aunt and uncle, but they might as well be. They're my godparents. Rich was like a brother to my dad.
Godparents is like a whole different level. That's not just like faux aunt and uncle. I've got plenty of those, but godparents.
Yeah, they're the real deal. They're the real deal. Anyway, I'm sure we could do all kinds of podcasts about Rich and Marla. Great folks, big fan of them. Anyway, except for this moment when my dad worked, when we moved to Idaho, my dad worked at Target doing security at the Coeur d'Alene Target. And there was a food court there and they had corn dogs. So, I think Rich and my mom and I and my brother and sister went to visit Dad at work and got my corn dogs. So we're sitting at the little food court and I had and like, I don't know, when you're 6, I'm not like our children. I don't get corn dogs every Tuesday night, or I didn't as a child. So they were a rare luxury for me. So I had my corn dog in hand and I'm sitting on Rich's lap and he goes, oh, what's over there? And I looked and sure enough, when I turned back, a bite of my corn dog was gone. Uncle Rich stole it. And that's when I learned never take your eyes off your food because somebody's going to take a bite. Thanks for the life lesson, Uncle Rich.
Yeah. Well, mine are not like that with someone stealing my food, but it just made me think like, do I have any experiences like that? And I don't have any in particular that I can think of that are like that, but I did think of 2 moments where I learned to be careful how much and what I eat.
Oh, do tell.
The first time was when we lived on our farm in Kansas, and we had a box of honey buns, like the packaged, I don't know if they're Little Debbie or Hostess or whatever. Oof. But we had a bunch of those, and I was left unattended in the house, apparently, and ate a bunch of them and got very sick.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand what the problem was at that point. But then later in middle school, when we lived back in Wichita, I went to the movies with 2 friends and we got a big tub of popcorn, and the popcorn was too buttery. The friends did not want to eat it. And so I proceeded to eat. I don't know if I ate all of it, but I was the only one eating it for the entire movie. And then after we got home, I felt very sick very suddenly. We were all hanging out in my room and my room was less than 5 feet from the bathroom and I didn't even make it down the hall.
Oh no.
So I haven't liked popcorn since then. And same thing with honey buns.
Up, really? I don't know.
Popcorn, I can think about popcorn and it doesn't bother me. I would never eat it, especially not buttery.
You would never eat popcorn?
No, I can't.
You'd never have. We're not really a popcorn family, so it's not like this has really come up.
Yeah. No, I don't eat popcorn.
You'd never eat Wow.
But the idea of movie theater popcorn or any popcorn doesn't really bother me that much. Whereas if I even think about honey buns, like even right now,
it sounds gross to me.
I'm feeling a little bit sick to my stomach just thinking about it.
Oh, wow. That really, I would call that traumatic.
Yeah. So with the popcorn, I was old enough at that point to understand butter and fat and grease and
not real butter either.
Yeah, whatever.
That was going to be all kinds
oil, whatever it
yeah.
was. But like, and even like, it's not like I completely understood all of those things, but I was old enough to have somewhat of a grasp of what I had done to myself.
Yes.
And yeah, it's
Man.
too bad. It's too
Wow.
bad.
It's a good lesson to learn. I feel like my self-control with food, it is weird. I mean, maybe a lot of people learn this earlier. I feel like I did not learn this, and I mean self-control with food, and even just like being satiated before eating an entire pizza, like that didn't happen until I was probably in my mid to late 20s. Like, so I don't know. I mean, yeah, there's layers to my journey with food, but yeah, it is bizarre. And I remember being younger and hearing like older people, parents, friends, or whoever talking about a dessert and like, oh, this, this one's too sweet or whatever. This one's not too sweet, so that's nice. And I was like, are these people crazy? Like, this is not too sweet. This is delightful. There's no such thing as too sweet. And now I'm the adult who like can't drink chai because it's too sweet, but I'm better off for it because I think it like limits me now. Like, if I have too much of something, like it will make me feel sick and yucky in the moment and yucky later. So, you know what? I'm grateful for getting older and finding things too sweet because I believe I'm a healthier person than I used to be.
Here's to health and long life.
Hear, hear.